Hey guys, welcome to another episode of NikonTV. We are here live today in Toronto, Ontario at Humber College. On location here with my good friends David Scott and Greg Henderson. How are you, my friend?
Mark, nice to have you.
Doing good.
Thank you for having us into your home.
Hey, it's a pleasure.
And we're going to talk today about the future of education, I guess, with you guys. Maybe just for the viewers at home, introduce yourselves, who you are, David.
Well, Dave Scott, coordinator of the photography program here, and briefly started out at college in the UK and the States, and come up to Canada and further education, did a degree here, and been working in commercial photography and documentary work, and ended up teaching.
Okay, great. Greg?
Yeah, I took my education's 3 years of Fanshawe College. They had a 3-year program when I went to Fanshawe in London. It was a great school to go to. And then after I left Fanshawe, I came to Toronto, did assisting at the big retail studios that did Canadian Tire, Walmart, that sort of stuff. And then opened my own commercial studio, which I ran for almost 20 years. And then I've been here for 15 years now. When the transition came from analog to digital, that's when I made the step into teaching. I did some night school teaching at Jarvis Collegiate, and so it was a real nice experience for me, and I just got the bug for teaching, so I've been here now. Coordinated the program for 15 years and full-time faculty now for 2.
Beautiful, and now you are the program coordinator for this photography program.
Yes.
Great. Well, we want to have a good conversation here with you guys regarding the future of photography. But before we do, I just want to set it out to you guys in the audience watching right now. We want to hear from you. Do you guys have a formal photography education, whatever that may be, whether it's post-secondary or anything? We want to know, so let us know in the comments if you have a formal education. We'll review the results later on, but just want to let you know that if you comment or tell us about your photography education, we are going to draw for a Eyes of Nikon book here. It's kind of an exclusive copy from Japan, and we're going to give it to one lucky person that comments on our video right now with our question of the day. All right, so let's get right into it, guys. The program then, you said you've been with the program for 15 years. How long has this particular program been in existence?
1969, the college program itself in Ontario, colleges started in 1967, and then the photography program, I believe, dates back to 1969 here at Humber.
Wow, okay, so that's probably one of the longest
Longest established in the country.
In the country.
Yeah.
Okay, wow.
Yeah.
And in terms of how many years this particular program is? How long is it from the beginning to end?
Well, it's a 2-year diploma. So you start in September, and it goes to the 2 years into April after that.
Okay, so typically 2-year diploma.
Just short, yeah.
And how many students are enrolled, say, at the beginning of an intake?
Well, the first years, it's around 98 or 100 students come in first year, and they go through, and there's some decide to go into other streams of programs into second year, but generally it's 100, and then down a little bit from that in second year.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you got about 100 students in the first year, and
So every
again in the
cohort
second year.
runs about 170 students per cohort. So
Yeah.
Per cohort,
there'll be 170 students this year, and again the same next year as well.
Yeah.
Great. And so, with the courses that students are taking now in 2018, 2019, can you give us a little idea of what students can expect when they enroll in your program? What are the type of courses that they're taking in a specialized photography program like this? It's to either one of you,
What do
maybe.
you think? Well, it's really a wide range of study of visual communications. So they're learning several motion courses. They're learning portrait, location and studio. They're learning commercial, advertising, design as it relates to photography. They're learning history, learning where imaging came from and iconic photographers' work, studying. What else?
Social media marketing
Yes.
is a course that we've had for the last few years that have really been a big component in our 4-semester students. And we have a history and alternative process class, which David and I are very proud of. It's a course where we do a lot of darkroom work. Every student learns to make a salted print, a cyanotype, a Van Dyke, and a silver print. So we're one of the only colleges that still has a real foothold in some of the analog ways of doing photography. That's a course that we're both really worked hard on, and we're really proud of having. It's not too many schools that are able to have that anymore because of the venting and the chemistry, WIMIS, organization of the chemistry and all that kind of stuff.
Really? Okay. So, and that's a mandatory course, or that's like
Mandatory,
an elective?
yeah.
Okay, good.
It's not elective, yeah,
Well,
it's
and
mandatory.
we also have a final semester internship.
We have 4
course.
semesters of image editing, so
Right.
that's, generally you think of it as Photoshop, but it can be Lightroom and a few other programs that we introduce. Capture One is a program
Big
that
one, yeah.
all of our students use.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Then, but primarily the program is based on a digital format.
Yes.
And what is the type of equipment that students are expected to use nowadays when they're enrolling in this program?
Well, when they come into the program, the 2 main things that they bring with them would be a full-frame digital camera that's video capable, and a laptop that is can handle large files, multi-layered files, and also it's fast enough that it can run video and edit video as well.
Okay, so it's up to the students to bring their own cameras in,
Absolutely,
and
yeah.
Bring your own.
but you're
those-
recommending
yeah.
full frame.
Has to be full frame.
has to be.
That's our only recommendation around the camera.
Yeah.
Full frame, and then there's a few lenses that we really recommend that they have, so. But it's definitely full frame and video. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, and I guess for the lenses that they, what's a good lens for them that you recommend that they come into the program with?
That's a loaded question because I love prime lenses and.
Well, typically a 24 to 85
Yeah.
is
Okay.
what they would
Starting
start with.
Yeah.
Prime lenses they can borrow from the booking center here.
Okay, so let's talk about the booking center. So one of the advantages of coming to a school such as yours, I would imagine, is that they come in with some, gear. Maybe it might be 1 or 2 lenses or something like that. But they also have, as I understand, access to an assortment of gear here. Do you want to talk about what they can expect when they come here and the type of gear that they can access to?
We've been really well supported here. The administration has been really supportive of our program. We have a gigantic footprint for the photography program. So we have 3 really large studios that accommodate more than 20 students shooting at the same time tabletop product. And then we have 2 private studios, a studio for shooting portraiture and a studio for shooting products. And then, of course, we have a whole pool of lenses that if a student comes in, they have 1 lens. They can borrow lenses, prime lenses, zoom lenses. We have
Tilt shift.
Tilt shift, 24s to 70s. We have 70 to 200. We have probably 20 of the 100 macro lenses from Nikon. We have 14 to 24s.
And then we have a range of cameras that they can borrow too. We have medium format. We have Hasselblad, about 30 Hasselblad digital cameras that they can borrow.
Yeah.
An electronic flash.
Electronic flash, and
Studio on location.
we're really a Broncolor school. Broncolor for education happened to be the safest type of electronic flash, so it was a little more expensive, but we've gone completely into Broncolor. So second-year students use Broncolor power packs, and the students in this lab would use the Visiatech versions of Broncolor lighting.
Right, okay, I see that, and we don't have a wide enough lens to go around this entire studio here, but it is impressive the amount of workstations that you have. I mean, when I went to school, there wasn't this many workstations that I've seen your other studio as well, so I'm impressed by the fact that there are just that many equipment for people to use. And it really cuts down on, I guess, people kind of having to wait for gear to be returned and things like that. They always seem to have access. How long is the access to the studios? Do the students get access to it?
Some of the studios are 24 hours.
Okay.
Others, they're open from early morning till about 8 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
But there's at least 3 spaces that they can shoot with their ID cards they can swipe in and
Okay, so
come whenever they want.
do you find in the first and second year how much of their work is being done in the studio versus, say, on location somewhere for their assignments?
I think first year is really technique intensive. So in the first year, they're really learning a lot of technology. So that's a lot of studio shooting. The portrait and commercial classes, it's pretty well all studio. It's learning the gear, learning ratio lighting, learning the sensibility of an image. And of course, with Dave's design class, they also have some design, some big design elements. But so in the second year, that's when we open up and they start doing more location work, the editorial style work. We teach a lot of that in third and fourth semester. So the first year is mostly studio work.
Okay.
And then second year,
Second
we really
year,
open
it's
it.
both. So even in second year, some of them might want to specialize in studio. So they still do more product or conceptual stuff in the studio, but others would do more location work in second year.
Okay, so it's kind of student-driven, what the individual wants to specialize in.
Especially in third and fourth semester. Fourth semester particularly, but third semester as well.
Okay, that's great. And approximately how many instructors do you have in this program, other than the two of you?
Well, there's 9 part-time faculty and the 2 full-time professors in the program. So it's a good diverse industry range of experience and background and, post-production, different genres that we all come from. So.
And I really think that one of the positive things about Humber is because we're right in the, kind of just outside of the core of Toronto, our contract workers all work in the industry, and they're all, Toronto core photographers, either, at a high level of fashion photography or a high level of commercial photography or illustrative or
or post-production. It's all over the map, really.
Right, from your graduates. Now, I know we want to talk about this. For people that are looking at, coming out of high school, they might be mature students. What are the demographics of the people that come into your program? What you say?
Well, it seems to be getting wider a range. It's not just high school grads anymore. There's a lot of people that would do a degree and then come to get the diploma, the hands-on skills in our diploma program. We have quite a few international students. Humber's reputation is, around the world. We have people that come to us from Japan, from India, Mexico, the States, all over, South America, all over really. And then there's people midlife that choose to, do their photography diploma to enhance their skill set.
Yeah, sort of reinvent themselves and come to the photography.
So there's a fantastic diversity in the people that come, and that really enriches the culture. That the discussions that we can get going in class, the experience that people bring to it. It's really interesting.
Yeah,
That's
really
great.
good.
So, people that are enrolling in the program, what can they expect to pay in terms of fees when they come into this program?
Tuition's about $4,000, and that's across Ontario wide.
Per year.
Per year. So it's about $4,000, $1,900 a semester, and that includes some lab fees for us here at Humber. But it can vary a little bit from college to college, but not greatly.
Right, and I think you mentioned before some of that goes into printing costs.
Yeah,
as well,
some
right?
of your lab fees, it depends on the school. Some lab fees incorporate some camera costs, and we don't. We just include some of the material costs. If you're going to be printing an image, you take the ink away with you on your image. It was kind of a mechanism for us to make it feasible for students to print their own work and keep the costs for us and them down by applying it into a lab fee.
Yeah.
Great. So is that a second year practice where you're tackling the workflow of going from capture right to the print process?
Day one.
Yeah,
Day one, okay.
right from first semester, they're learning printing. They're learning the nuances of shadow detail, highlight detail, and skin tones.
Yep, and we also learn strobe day one as well. They walk into the school. They can walk in with no experience with strobe lighting, and their first courses in commercial and
Portrait.
commercial and portraiture are all going to be with strobe lighting. Yeah.
Wonderful. It reminds me of my days in school as well. A lot of things have changed, especially because when I went to school, there was a lot of focus on analog. I mean, I'm dating myself, but it was not even that long ago. It was the early 2000s. And so I'm glad I had that experience in the darkroom. It helped learning digital a little bit quicker, I found. For you guys individually, what do you still personally like to shoot nowadays if you're not teaching here at Humber College? What interests you guys?
You know, I've got such a variety of interests. You know, Dave and I are both working on tintypes, which is an old analog way of capturing. We're both working on some alternative processes work.
Yeah, I enjoy making cyanotypes and some salted prints that are just the essence of making a one-of-a-kind print that was invented in 1839 or 1842 for cyano, and using modern digital film to make contact prints with. You're combining the creativity of maybe collaging an image in post, but using the chemistry from almost 200 years ago. There's something magical about it.
It is, and
really
so
cool.
this is the first time historically we've been able to do that. So what we do is we take the digital camera, and from our digital files we create a large file that we can make a digital negative from. And historically it used to be that we had to use a camera at that certain size in order to make a contact print. It's I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of it, but now we can make really big, beautiful one-off prints that that were never historically able to do before. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, what for people watching this right now, looking to you guys to, just to give a pitch of why you would get formal education versus, the internet's so big nowadays. A lot of people might pick up their camera and say, I'm just going to self-teach myself photography, with all the online content out there. What are the advantages about coming to a program, a 2-year, 4-semester program here at Humber College, would you say? The biggest compelling reason people want to come?
I think it's the teaching, the coaching, the mentorship, and as a group, the students help each other. They have access to a lot of equipment here, but it's not about the equipment. I think it's about learning the conceptual nature of the work, talking to each other. What did you do here? How could we do it better? And with critiques in class, with learning how to separate subject from background, direction of light. It's hard to get that without the instruction, but also the group of young emerging photographers working with themselves as well. What do you think?
And I would say that I have done, and I think I've done, classroom education and I've done online education. And with the online education, for me, it's always been, when it's a practical course, like a lot of the photography we do is quite practical. It's so hard when you get stuck at a spot and you can't ask a question to a YouTube channel or to lynda.com about how to resolve an issue. And when you're at school, you resolve the issue instantly with an instructor on your side.
Yeah, we can help them with whatever problems they're having, and even they can then help each other with, and they learn problem solving is a big part of photography.
And I would say the networking is a big component too. Graduates from our program, we have our year-end display, which I'm sure we'll talk about later, but the graduates that come year after year after year that are still working in this industry, they'll come and say that they are still in contact with people that they went to school with here 20 years ago, and that they've spread off into different areas. Some have gone into advertising, some have gone into portraiture, some have wedding and that sort of business, but they still connect with each other, and that's something you'd never get with online.
And when the grads need an assistant or they're getting really busy, then it would be their school colleagues that, hey, do you want a gig next week? And so they network.
Well, I mean, for you said 170 cohort, and a lot of them are looking to do this professionally as professional photographers. I would imagine the networking is really good, stays with you for several years, and like you said, the critiques. That was one of the big things that I found value for when I had my own formal education in photography, was the critiques. I really looked forward to those. I mean, I know it's nerve-wracking for a lot of people, right? But I found it was really valuable to get that feedback. The human, like you just said, instant feedback rather than just kind of working things out on your own. So I totally see where you're coming from. Now you mentioned your year-end gala. We might as well just go ahead and plug that right now. That's coming up, right? What can you tell us about it? The students from the program do a capstone. They have a capstone project which is to develop their portfolio. And from that portfolio, they'll have a show where their portfolios will be available to see and some
large format prints this year. We've got some 32 by 24 canvas prints of their best work that's going to be there. And each student can show some personal creative work as well as their main book, but it's just a big celebration of their skill set.
And I think if you're interested in going to a college or in a photography program, it'd be a good event to come to see what can be produced over a 2-year period, certainly through our program.
And what is the date of that show?
It's going to be
April 3rd and 4th.
3rd and 4th, 3 until 8
p.m. each day.
At Art Commons, which is a building on Lakeshore campus near Kipling, but close to the Lakeshore campus of Humber College.
Lakeshore and Kipling, pretty much just west of there.
Right. Okay, great. And that's open to the public?
Yes.
Okay,
absolutely.
Great. Yeah. Okay, wonderful. And speaking of your graduates then, maybe just one more question before we go to a break here. What, in terms of career paths or things that they just do after your program, what are you finding the jobs that they're getting now, exiting,
Well, I think we used to think of successes as students who just went out and opened and started their own photography business. So went into weddings and portraits, had a commercial studio. But in the last 10 years, we've seen a real divergence of really successful students come through our program, be able to do the 2-year program and go out and work in motion, go out and work in
social media,
We've
e-commerce.
got students who've gone to the one in London, worked in magazines, art direction, advertising agencies. It's amazing what has happened over the last.
They've gone into production planning or digital asset management. It's really the career paths now are broader than
art
ever.
galleries.
Yeah, gallery stuff.
Gallery,
Yeah.
Now, does that make it harder to keep the program current and, because the diversity of the careers that people do when they go outside of the program are ever changing. So how has that been challenging for you guys to
I think it keeps
keep
it
this
fresh.
program?
I think it keeps it alive. That we've brought in a lot more motion work, motion capture.
Talk about
We
that,
have a program advisory committee that we meet twice a year, and they give us feedback on what are the trends in the industry, what skill set do students need to have coming in.
We all try to get to as many conferences as we can get to as well. And then we do get a lot of feedback from our contract workers who are working in the industry. A good example of that is the first year, and what's supposed to happen in a college education is that once a new curriculum needs to be developed, it takes about a year for us to put the new plan into place and then write it into our curriculum. But I'll give you an example that when our first DSLR cameras came out that were capable of doing motion, we incorporated projects that semester into our program. So we're able to work on the fly and really try to keep things up to date. And I think, because as we said, the program's been here since 1969, it would seem from the outside it's an old program until you come in and take a good hard look at the curriculum, and then you take a look at the people teaching it, and then, of course, the equipment that we have.
Yeah.
That's amazing, guys. Well, you know what we're going to do right now? We're going to take a break, and after the break, we're going to come right back here and answer a little bit of Q&A from our Facebook audience. So be back in about 60 seconds.
This lens is small and light, and it allows me to get close and intimate to the people I'm photographing. And in a way, it almost allows me to become invisible. My name is Amy Vitale. I'm here in Cape Town, South Africa, shooting this incredible city that is so diverse in its landscape and also the richness of culture. I need my gear to be fast and sharp. Frankly, it just has to handle a lot of abuse because I'm in these extreme landscapes, for example, in the middle of a sandstorm. I've been really impressed because this lens is tack sharp in every situation and at every focal range, whether 24 to 70, also when it's wide open, 2.8 sharp. If I can only have one lens, this is it for me because it can handle a whole range of situations and it's light and sharp, durable, and fast.
All right, we're back here, Nikon TV guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're here at Humber College in Toronto, Ontario, with my good friends Greg Henderson and David Scott of the photography program. And we're just going to take some questions from you guys on the audience right now. We have a couple of inbox questions here. One's from Jared, and he said, "Sorry, I missed the start of the episode, but how long is the photography program?" We went through that at the beginning of the episode.
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
Four semesters.
right. Okay, cool. And then there's a couple of breaks in there, right? So it's kind of like starts in September, goes to
End of April.
End of
end of
April.
April. Okay, and then
They come back the following September.
Okay,
So,
got it. All right. Next question's coming from Emily. She says, "What kind of camera should I get if I want to get into the photography program?" So we talked about that as well. What do you recommend for this program?
Well, again, like we said, as long as it's full frame and it can capture motion,
Yeah.
those are the two.
Yeah.
So there's a range of choices that they have. Beyond
What are most
that.
people bringing into the photography program nowadays? What kind of cameras do you see them bring in? It's full frame, right? So
yeah, we see
when
a
did
lot
you say
of.
full frame? You started full frame a couple of years ago, right?
We moved over, what, about 4 years ago to
Yeah,
full
maybe
frame,
more
I
than
think.
that, yeah.
Even more. It was
Yeah.
the resolution, the clarity of the image.
Yeah, that selective depth of field made a big issue, with the full frame.
But, a lot of, it's a range of cameras from the Nikon D610, 750, various Canon full frame and Sony, so it's all over.
A lot of 610s this year, for sure.
610s, yeah.
Primarily, more of that than anything else in our program this year. Yeah.
Okay.
The
Okay.
Nikon
And about a
610.
24 to 85, you're recommending that they
Yeah.
start with
It's a
as
good
a lens.
starter lens,
So,
for sure, yeah.
Okay, great. Next question coming in from Sumi. So Sumi says, "Do I need any experience to study photography at Humber?" Oh, this is a question I forgot to ask you guys.
Yeah.
Their entry into the program. Do they need a portfolio? What kind of things are you looking for a student?
Well, with the application process, there is a secondary requirement, which is to see some images that they produce, so a portfolio. It's digital now, so they upload with their application 12 JPEG images. And what we're really looking for is, we're looking for potential. Like if they already were a stunningly professional looking photographer, that would, there'd be less to teach. So we're looking for potential. We're looking for a curiosity for visual communications. So a range of content, perhaps some images with people in them, some of places, variety of angles and perspectives, light perhaps from something side-lit, some backlit, perhaps a few in black and white. So we're just looking for that visual curiosity that's saying, yeah, that person would really flourish with training in studio and location. So just that real passion.
Great.
Anything you'd like to add for that?
Just a real keen interest in it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
Excellent. I guess the only other comment that I want to highlight here is from Joel Gale saying, "David A. Scott, you're really rocking the beard."
Well, that's good to know. Cheers, Joel.
What about poor Greg? Greg's got a pretty
Well,
rocking beard too.
I had it for a while. Dave's is
Yeah,
Dave's
this is
is
more of a fresh one. Yeah.
Okay, very good. Now, at the beginning of the episode, we asked you guys, what is your degree of education in photography? And what we're going to do right now is, if you guys comment in the comment section of your type of education in photography, we're going to pick one lucky winner to get a Eyes of Nikon book. So keep commenting in the comment section and keep participating in future episodes of Nikon TV. This copy goes to you guys. So this is for the
thank you.
school.
For the school.
Eyes
Great.
of
Thank you.
Nikon.
Awesome.
So that's it for us here at Humber College, and we'll see you guys next time on our next episode of Nikon TV. Take care.
Thank you.